Today's reflection is entitled Medicine for the Soul. For some people, medicine for the soul might be being in nature, going for a walk in a wood, or just sitting in the garden, or just gazing outside at some beautiful flower or whatever. For some it might be painting or playing music. For some it might be sitting with a friend over a cup of tea, and hopefully one day soon we'll be able to do that again. For some it might be volunteering in the food bank, or letting loose and singing at the top of your lungs in the shower. A year ago, when we first went into lockdown, we started watching The Joy of Painting, hosted by a man called Bob Ross. He's an artist who in half an hour would talk through and paint a landscape picture, instructing viewers in the techniques needed as he did so. Bob's voice is soothing, and as we watched transfixed, we would find ourselves relaxing, and more often than not, one of us would have fallen asleep. Won't mention who that would be. Although this brought a temporary medicine for our souls, a more permanent solution is found in the verses we look at today from John's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 14. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Grace is God's undeserved kindness to us. You may remember John in his Lent reflection used the acronym God's riches at Christ's expense. Jesus swapped places with us. He took the punishment that we should receive and gave us his righteousness instead. Jesus is not only gracious, he's full of grace. Not just gracious up to a point or when it suits him, as I'm inclined to be. He is full of grace. His grace took him from the heights of heaven to the depths of hell, and all this to rescue sinners who have abused his love. The Puritan Thomas Watson invites us to consider the grace of God from different angles, so we can get a sense of its richness and fullness. What we discover is music to our ears, honey in the mouth, and a cordial for the heart. In short, medicine for our soul. Why was Christ made flesh? The primary cause was free grace. See here as in a mirror the infinite love of God the Father. When we had lost ourselves through sin, God in his riches of his grace sent forth his Son, born of a woman, to redeem us. And behold the infinite love of Christ, who was willing to condescend to take our flesh. What king would wear sackcloth over his cloth of gold? But Christ did not disdain to take our flesh. Oh, the love of Christ! Had Christ not been made flesh, we would have been made a curse. Had he not become incarnate, we would have been incarcerated, forever imprisoned. Consider from where Christ came. He came from heaven, and from the richest place in heaven, his Father's bosom, that hive of sweetness. Consider to whom Christ came. Was it to his friends? No, he came to sinful humanity, to those who had defaced his image, to those who had abused his love, to those who were rebels. Yet he came, resolving to conquer obstinacy with kindness. Consider in what manner he came. He came not with the majesty of a king attended by his bodyguards. He came in poverty, not like the heir of heaven, but like one of an inferior descent. The place he was born in was poor, not the royal city Jerusalem, but Bethlehem, a poor, obscure place. He was born in an inn, a manger for his cradle. The cobwebs were his curtains and the beasts his companions. Consider why he came, that he might take our flesh to redeem us, that he might bestow on us a kingdom. He was poor, that he might make us rich. He was born of a virgin, that we might be born of God. He took our flesh, that he might give us his spirit. He lay in the manger, that we might lie in paradise. He came down from heaven, that he might bring us to heaven. And what was all this but love? Unless our hearts are rocks, this love of Christ should affect us, a love that surpasses knowledge. Jesus Christ has perfection in every grace. He is a storehouse of all heavenly treasure. The concentrated essence of the gospel, the wonder of angels, the joy and triumph of saints. The name of Christ is sweet, like music to the ear, like honey to the mouth, like a cordial for the heart.